everyone. Welcome to our Fireside chat with Jacob and Talip. And today we are covering some details of your collaborations. And maybe you can introduce yourself first and about your project yourself and how you align with Bitcoin.
Hi everyone. My name is Talip. I'm a DevRel engineer at Citrea. What we do is we're building a rollup, essentially a chain on top of Bitcoin. And it's an EVM rollup. And we also have a trust minimized bridge, which is a fancy word to talk about. We have a rollup that's a chain living on Bitcoin with a connection, ZK connection on top of Bitcoin, so that we have a new platform for everyone to use, I would say.
Hello. Can you hear me? All right. I'm Jacob Everly. I'm the product lead for Boundless, which is being built by RISC Zero. Boundless is the universal ZK protocol that helps it or makes it easier to deploy ZK applications to any ecosystem or many at the same time. Working with great projects like Citrea and others in Bitcoin to make sure that they have all the set of infrastructure to build robust ZK systems and more easily deploy onto Bitcoin.
Yeah, so for people maybe haven't heard about your collaborations, so what does the integration actually do? And do you think it's a good time for Bitcoin to have all the ZK?
Yeah. Before that, what do you do?
Thank you. I'm Zhixiong from ChainFeeds, and I'm doing Ethereum Weekly Digest, like weekly newsletter to focus on the all crypto things and ZK for a long time. That's why I'm here, want to talk with you. Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Now the question again, if possible. Sorry, I forgot the question.
Yeah, so about your integrations actually do, and do you think it's a good time for Bitcoin to have ZK?
Yeah. So I think it should be good to start from the very earlier to the looking at the Bitcoin forums and the answers and responses and posts over there. We see an interesting message from Satoshi himself or herself saying, actually there's this stuff about ZK that could be used, and then there's the ideas going on. Among other Bitcoiners as well. Like there's been a talk on this in the Bitcoin forums initially, but then at that time the technology is not really there. So the hardware and the software itself, and even the research actually, is not very supportive to do. Is not very supportive to add ZK stuff on Bitcoin. So then that idea stops, and then Bitcoin goes into other directions. But now today we have much more stuff that we can do at the moment. We can do almost real-time proving. We have so many different proving systems that has different trade-offs. And now actually is a good time to introduce some more ZK, because then you can bring privacy more, you can make more scalable chains. You can basically bring math and much more formally defined systems that are capable of executing much more than what they're able to do at the moment. So that's why we also work with RISC Zero. ZK rollups by design are very important systems. They give you the ability to verify that everything is going well, and you can also add some privacy layers. So we're trying to add this on top of Bitcoin by using RISC Zero on our chain. We're a ZK rollup. We prove the execution of our chain and also publish the proof on Bitcoin so that anyone reading Bitcoin can verify that everything is going well. And we also use it on the bridge as well. And RISC Zero is basically giving us, and Boundless is actually a great platform for us that gives us all from hardware to software to any kind of strategy and any kind of idea even. We basically talk and work with them, and it's a very good partnership.
Yeah. Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, I think Talip, he hit on most of the points. We just abstract all the ZK tech, right? So we want projects like yourself to be able to write Rust and not only generate ZKPs, but deploy these production-ready ZK protocols. Additionally, there's some unique things around Bitcoin and the BitVM, to where we actually want to support native features just for Bitcoin and Boundless. So imagine we could sort of have a native aggregator that supports the Blake 3 hash method for verifying a proof in Bitcoin, or BitVM, sorry.
Yeah, so maybe we can focus on developers. So what kind of possibilities does this integration unlock? And do you think what kind of app can build upon it? Yeah.
Yeah. I would say if you ever looked at how Bitcoin works or what you can do with Bitcoin, so the ideas are actually very nice. Now you have a system that is almost unbreakable, that always works, that is not under the control of someone who can hold your money. So the whole idea is being self-sovereign, being independent, being pseudo-anonymous, and these are very cool ideas. But then the design space is, even though kind of very different than what we know and very capable of doing things, it's very limited actually. So it has an assembly-like language, we call it script, and it has some limits on the stacks. It does not have too many operations that you can use, and the number of ideas that you can build are kind of limited with payments and self-sovereignty. But what if you want to do more? What if you want to do lending, borrowing kind of stuff? What if you want to do yields? What if you want to do shitcoins? What if you want to get more privacy? So for all of these stuff, Bitcoin itself is not actually enough. So what we try to do is we're bringing another layer by giving a trade-off maybe for the decentralization manner, or maybe the ideal, maybe the ethos manner of Bitcoin itself, like having decentralized and being unbreakable. But then you now have the ability to do much more. You can write any code, any Solidity code that you want, which is proven today. You can do almost instant, almost unstoppable apps on the Ethereum, on the other EVM chains. So the core idea is now you have Bitcoin, and now you can do much more with it on Citrea. And you can use it for privacy apps. You can use it for all the reasons that I just explained, like lending, borrowing, this type of stuff. And it's just Bitcoin that you hold. You don't need to solve it. You don't need to give it away to someone else. You now have a system that is secured by ZK, that is a ZK EVM rollup. And you now also have a ZK bridge that also secures your funds as well. So combining all these, the design space is just too big for a developer who is just capable of reading code and understanding how Solidity works, how EVM works, and then you can do whatever you want with it. It's just so much powerful than what exists today.
By the way, I heard you talk about the privacy part. Is it any kind of details?
Yes, it's kind of like given, like now we have Tornado Cash on the EVM chains, we have privacy pools, we have Railgun, which is like kind of, we actually built some stuff for Railgun as well beforehand.
Okay.
So now you can have mixers and you can have different constructions using ZK that holds how much you have, or that enables you to do private payments. So for example, one idea is you can do private atomic swaps, where you can basically swap your money automatically from Bitcoin into a privacy pool, and then you can basically then prove that you did a transaction or you hold some amount in this using ZK without revealing who you are. Then you swap your Bitcoin into something that no one is able to trace it if you're careful.
Okay.
And it's not possible on Bitcoin today because everything is pretty much traced.
Actually, it's build a mixer using the smart contract on
Yes.
EVM. Yeah.
Yes, come find me, we can talk if you're into this.
Yeah.
So I think what we heard from Talip is you're going to get all the programmability and applications that you know in the EVM or even other virtual machine ecosystems now on Bitcoin. I'd argue even a bigger reason why you should come to Citrea and any other project like working on Bitcoin. Currently, Bitcoin dominance probably sits around like 60 to 70% of crypto capitalization. 99.5% of that is not used in DeFi or anything, right? It's all trustless multi-sigs that are managed by some sort of exchange or in some ETF. Those large ETF providers are looking for a trustless way to get more yield on their Bitcoin. They're looking at restaking Bitcoin. They're looking at bringing Bitcoin to the DeFi, but they haven't done it because every solution so far requires a multi-sig, and they're serious people. Big banks are not going to use a multi-sig to transfer funds. With projects like Citrea, For the first time, there's a trustless bridge. We're going to see the mass inflow of liquidity, and wherever this Bitcoin or liquidity ends up, you're going to have the best DeFi in the space. DeFi is dominated by liquidity. Liquidity allows for better spreads. Better spreads attract more users do volume. Liquidity, it's a vicious flywheel we saw with Uniswap, and we're going to see that exact same thing in the Bitcoin ecosystem over the next 18 months.
Yeah, just a side note, it's not entirely trustless, it's trust minimized, but just a side note, yeah.
Yeah, totally agree. Next one, I want to understand the details because you know Bitcoin, its scripts has its limitations. So I just want to know your design or integration challenges in your collaboration, especially for how you integrate with Bitcoin using Bitcoin scripts. Yeah.
Yes. So again, Bitcoin's programming language, the Bitcoin network supports, is very limited, and the execution environment is very limited. Like, you cannot do much. So up until last year, actually, most of the solutions for moving money from one, like Bitcoin, to another chain was multi-sigs. Actually, you trust 5 people, and then 3 of them can move your money, and many people just do not trust it, like me as well. So last year, or the year before actually, there was a new research paper called BitVM. And the core idea was you can actually verify any computation on Bitcoin using ZK. And what this enables is, now we have a chance to get rid of Bitcoin bridges that are only multi-sigs. Now we can build ZK bridges where you verify snark proofs on Bitcoin scripts. And if we can do this, then we're kicking out the multi-sigs. Now what we have is much better trust assumption solutions where you only need, let's say, one of n trust assumption, which means your money is held by n people, and as long as one of these n people functions honestly, then the system is secure, funds are secure, and it always continues to work correctly. And here the key idea is we're now able to verify ZK snarks in Bitcoin script. And the way we do it is we use RISC Zero. So we prove the execution, and then we get a Stark proof. And then we verify this Stark proof into snark proof, again using RISC Zero circuits. And what we get is now a verifiable system that is the bridge itself, so that the funds are secure without the traditional multisig.
Okay. Yeah.
I said I will. A huge fan of BitVM 2.0 as well, and OPCat also has, you know, ZK advantages of bringing more programmability to Bitcoin.
Yeah, so do you think this kind of general purpose programmability on Bitcoin will bring more risks to the Bitcoin, especially the miners? How do they think? Because, you know, maybe it's technically or socially. Yeah.
You want to go first?
I lean on the progressive side of the Bitcoin ecosystem. I think Bitcoin as a, you know, store of value or, you know, comparison to gold has really settled in, but people in these large institutions are always looking for more yield and how to make more money on their money. So I think, you know, Bitcoin mining cannot sustain itself forever. The block reward is still 98%. The block reward, it's 2% fees at best. I know at one point it had tippled over, but that is not the case anymore. So if the Bitcoin ecosystem wants to survive for 10 more years, you can't count on the price doubling every halvening, and you got to provide value through actual usage.
I think it's a very simple logic, actually. So there is Bitcoin, which is decentralized enough, which is very cool, which we all love almost, and then it works, right? And then now I have my money that is uncontrollable by anyone, but then this network is actually in danger because not enough people are using it, there are not enough fees, and because there are not enough fees, then the miners are actually kind of starting to struggle. Like today, they're not struggling a lot, but in the future, if the transactions do not happen on the Bitcoin L1 itself, then there won't be enough fees to guarantee that Bitcoin will continue forever. So, and also literally in the first page of the Bitcoin white paper, it says like this is basically like electronic peer-to-peer cash by the definition. So now today, most people are using it just like gold. They say, this is gold, this is us, we will just hodl and we will never sell. That's okay, but this network should be what we believe and what I believe is, should be able to do much more than that. Like, it shouldn't just stay as the store of value because you have some bags and you just continue to hold it. It should be used by the people for transactions, for real-time payments, for basically pretty much that everything possible, because we know that it is secure enough. We should basically make it accessible to everyone rather than using it as a gold. That is actually why we are doing this, because there's no good way of doing this currently on Bitcoin L1. Now we build another layer, people can do it. But sometimes we talk with Bitcoiners, some Bitcoin maxis heavily, and then they say, don't touch my Bitcoin, I keep holding it, I don't want it to be changed. Okay, but the problem is your network is, in the future, can be in danger. And just because you want to keep it as your bags doesn't mean that other people should be prohibited from using it. What I believe is there is definitely some solutions that can make it much more secure for the long term and much more capable of doing many more stuff. And current state of Bitcoin does not allow us to do it. Currently, there's not even multiplication you can do with Bitcoin's programming language. If you want to do 8 times 9, what you do is 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8. And in this environment, we're trying to verify proofs. It really sucks. So eventually, this will change, either because the miners are struggling, or when we start to publish more data, because we're a roll-up, we will publish, to be honest, very much data, too many data. And then either one way or another, like, there will be changes to Bitcoin eventually that makes it more capable of doing more transactions, more capable of doing other stuff that is not currently possible today. So if you're going to do it eventually, then I don't really think it should wait, because some people has money on it. Some people have millions of dollars in it. Like, we should do it, and it will happen eventually.
Yeah, so, but due to the time reason, we have one more question.
Yes.
Yeah, so what's next step for your integration, and what milestone you're looking forward to this year?
We look for mainnet. So we are right now live on Bitcoin testnet 4 as a testnet network. So we're basically almost finishing the implementations, like the bridge is almost finished, the chain itself is finished currently, we're testing stuff. And once we go mainnet, there will be different stuff. We will make the Bitcoin fees increase, and then it will be fun to see how the people react, how the price reacts, and then how our chain reacts actually, also how the devs react as well. And I would love to see many proofs being generated by RISC Zero and Boundless, and then many of them being put to the Bitcoin network by us by paying a bunch of money to the miners as well. So it's going to be a nice, good, chaotic environment that I would like to see.
Yeah. So how about RISC Zero?
Yeah, I think we have 3 big milestones coming up, hopefully before the end of the year. One is we'll be launching Boundless on mainnet, hopefully like end of Q2, early Q3, and start supporting great projects like Citrea, and I think we have around 30 dedicated to going to production right now. Second is we want to get to real-time proving. This is the main performance target right now, so the ability to prove an ETH block under 12 seconds to allow the asynchronous composability of rollups on Ethereum and other ecosystems. And lastly, we want to make it the last year that we ever talk about proving cost. We're already at like 1/100th of a cent for an Ethereum transaction. I want it to be a afterthought in your business to really have the explosion of ZK applications, and we're doing that through market dynamics, accelerated hardware, and we're working on sort of the final end game for proving, which we believe to be Binius.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to your new things going up. And thanks for today's Fireside chat. Thanks, Jacob and Talip, and see you next time.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.